everyone, Ivy League Gaming here, and today we're playing Dragonheir Silent Gods. For today's video, we're going to talk about Astaion. Are they the best hero of Season 4? Thank you to Dragonheir Silent Gods for sponsoring today's video. Dragonheir is my favorite sponsor because it's my favorite game I've played in such a long time. I really enjoy the graphics. They really knocked it out of the park with the new heroes of this season. We are on to Season 4, new season, new heroes, and new Otherworld. There's some really killer bosses this time around, and I hope you guys will enjoy. If you haven't already checked out Dragonheir, be sure to download using my link in the description or the pinned comment. It's available on Android, iOS, Mac, PC, Steam, or Epic Games. Alright, so as you can see, the graphics, number one, knock it out of the park. So, visually, one of the best heroes of Season 4? Yes, for sure. Let's just say that right there. I love the visuals. Look at what they did with the burn marks. The end of the dress. It's just so cool. So, this is a female lizard folk under that crazy mask, I think. Really, really cool. A lot like Faisa. A darker version, though. Alright, so Astaion. Mine is right now 4-star, not even 5-star yet because of where we are at in the season. I think there's one more day before we can do that, or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's today and I haven't even noticed yet. We will see, but yes, anyway, as of this moment of this recording, my hero's not even maxed out. And neither is my account. We're on Season 4, just into our second week here. And it's pretty cool so far. She was a really interesting find. So let's talk about why. So she does bring a defensive aura and arena, which is exactly what I thought she was only going to be good for. And little did we realize she's actually amazing versus bosses and kind of everywhere. So her passive. As the battle starts, the hero has a 100% chance to inflict silence for 10 seconds on the nearest enemy, and steals 30% of their HP and 30% of their defense. 50% of the stolen attributes will be transferred to the ally with the highest attack. The HP stolen should not exceed 100% of the hero's max HP. So this hero, you build them with a bunch of HP. You build them to survive and support. And you can even build some damage too, not gonna lie. And they're going to surprise you. They're going to be great help. But this hero is going to allow you to build your best attacker with very high attack, high crit damage, and not stress as much about HP and defense because some of the stolen attributes will be given to them. That just allows you to build your nuker to be the best nuker it can be, without, again, yeah, the survivability aspect being as much of a concern. That's just such a fun mechanic, and I think when I first read this, I was like, okay, cool, whatever, stolen stuff from Arena, silence, okay, Arena, but I didn't realize how impactful that could be for the long-term survivability. It just allows you to do a lot more damage in a shorter time, and then, yeah, actually not even shorter time, just be able to survive longer for your squishiest hero. Now, let's take a look at the other skills as well. Her battle skills deals 310% attack necrotic damage to enemies within range with a 50% chance to inflict stun for 3 seconds. It does go up to 60% chance with skills. It grants crit hit resistance to the ally with the highest attack for 5 seconds. The hero recharges ultimate energy by 5% upon hitting one enemy. So she's a quirky one. So this is definitely more of an arena thing as well, as far as crit damage resistance and stunning here as well. But hey, it doesn't hurt to boost a little bit here with the ultimate energy. And sometimes crowd control can really come in handy in other places like Fey Meander or Pillar of Trial or some of the other, you know, content like this would also be helpful even in a goblin run to have this straight ahead AoE damage hit. Alright, and then the ultimate summons a domain that lasts for 10 seconds at the target's location, dealing 60% attack necrotic damage to enemies within range every 1 second. So that's like 600% attack equivalent. and heals all allies by 3.5% max HP simultaneously every second. When enemies within range gain a buff, there's a 40% chance to replace the buff with a random debuff. So she's not going to debuff all the time, and because it's random, it's not like she can be your reliable attack penalty hero. But hey, if it gets thrown out there sometimes, it's not going to hurt. Neither will the other debuffs. Now, although, keep in mind, yes, one can. Recharging speed penalty. If you're going against an enemy that is getting buffs and this recharging speed penalty gets thrown on them, sometimes it's going to affect the boss's speed, which can affect the rotation of your skills and timings. So do keep that in mind if you have something very specific against a boss that can have their speed reduced. Now, obviously, like Vortex, it's not going to affect, but the dungeons, yes, it will. Just keep that in mind for your timings if you notice things are a little bit wonky. But yeah, this heal is amazing. So the heal every second, 10 seconds, that's 10 heal procs. Hits every 10 seconds, that's 10 hit procs. That makes her very valuable for some very popular artifacts, like Witch's Remains. So Witch's Remains or the Crown of Unclean is the budget version. Epic, now legendary version. This is the mythic, now former legendary. But yeah, more chances to proc defense penalty to make sure it's landing. She's a really great candidate for Witch's Remains now. And on the healing side of things, the Horn, Solar King's Horn. When the wearer heals an ally, increases the ally's damage by up to 5% for 10 seconds, up to 3 stacks. So healing 3 times or more, of course, is ideal for this Solar King's Horn. You wouldn't just want to put this on someone who just heals once on their ultimate and that's it. You're not going to really benefit as much from it. But she's a perfect candidate for this horn. And I'm sure there's a couple other artifacts in here. Feel free to call them out in the comments below. That would be really great for her that regards proccing or hitting multiple times. I'm sure there's some others, or not even here, just ones I have not purchased yet, let's be honest. But yeah, that is what is so fun about her. So building her, you can go a bunch of ways. Now, don't ignore my build again. This is only a few days into, or sorry, a couple weeks into a brand new server, so she's not perfect, and I have to go farm for today, and I'll probably have some better gear by the end of that. She is great to be a support hero. When it comes to sets, I would say, let's actually go to the dungeons because we can't see them all here. Let me pull up the dungeons. I think using her just as a support hero is probably the best because she's not going to do a ton of damage. So if you can instead just try to get her in something that helps everybody, you're going to be better off. So we have immune to stuns. That's cool if you're using her in arena. Where has a chance to dispel a buff on the enemy when inflicting debuffs. She's not consistent enough for that, so you're not going to want that support one. The dispels a debuff from themselves. That's always fun. And yeah, that's kind of the main ones there. I think we could say the heal one is going to be really strong. A Moonlight Mantle. There's a 50% chance for the wearer to grant 50% increased healing and shield effects. So I would probably say Moonlight Mantle would be my mythic gear piece of choice, equipment piece of choice for her as a chest. But otherwise, the other sets are quite good as well. Mona Lisa's Blessing is another great set for her, just another way to add more heals, but she shouldn't need it because she's a really strong healer herself. But if you are struggling with healing, you want even more, there you go. But Holy Hunter, again, hitting with that big range and multiple times over 10 seconds means a lot of chances to proc the stun of Holy Hunter. So that would probably be my main set of choice, and then the Moonlight Mantle as the chest plate when gearing this hero. Now, I thought it would be kind of fun to end this video by first looking at where I'm using her. Guys, look at Venom using her. Vortex using her. She's so good for Vortex, guys. If you have her and Perseus, you definitely want to use them. If you're using Ice Blast, I would say Perseus, Astaion, and Aladia with Sheena and Garthen, you're gonna survive so well and do so good. That's an option for a really long-lasting battle, or just 2 heroes plus 3 DPS is good as well. But for now, using a 3 synergy instead of 5 synergy, definitely plug her into your teams before we really start stacking up those extra bonuses. She's gonna help you survive longer than you expect if you really, you know, if you gear your heroes well to where your other ones are balanced with the HP and defense a little bit better, but your best nuker can be squishy, and she's going to help prevent them from dying early. But alright, so I'm using her in all the things. She's in my goblin team, although it's not ideal because her nexus stays in place. She's in whatever I can make her. Obviously not all of my domains because it's not smart, but yeah, I mean, she's in everything so far, and I chose to use her as one of my main heroes to start off with, and I chose to pull for her. I did extra summons because I wanted to get her that I would not have normally done if there wasn't so much hype around this hero. So I think she's pretty great. But let's take a look at her lore. I thought that would be a fun way to end this video. So let's see. Astaion, Blazeland Lizard Folk, Rogue, Lawful Evil are her tags. Right, the scorching sun, the lava, and the sandstorm, Astaion stood before the massive Sunfire Temple and attempted to listen out for the voices of the sun and lava god that the great shaman talked about. However, there was nothing, nothing at all. She heard nothing, just like countless times before. She could hear nothing and could see nothing. "You're not devout enough," said the great shaman. "You're still only fit to be a shadow guard, a warrior who is ready to die for her faith and aesthetic. Only then can you be saved." How boring, she thought. It's all so cliche that it's tiresome. Yet, being a guard who could be thrown into battle with her life on the line at any time did not bore her. Astaion had undertaken innumerable life and death missions, yet she had never once heard the call of her god in the moments where her life had hung in the balance. However, just as she was about to conclude that she had been abandoned by her god, a young lizard folk had appeared. She was their young queen, who had looked frail, cowardly, and timid. She seemed to not even be able to speak at a loud volume. Astaion had been assigned as the queen's bodyguard and had tasked with the duty of surveillance, which left her feeling worrisome, for staying by the queen's side was the safest place to be. However, after yet another failed attempt to listen for the voice of her god, she saw her queen standing behind her, her pupils glowing with a golden light. Do not listen to it." The queen's voice trembled, but was very gentle. "That is not the voice of our god. Do not listen to it." However, that voice still descended upon her in the end. After Mount Sunfire's eruption, a crimson glow described a miracle filled up in the entire sky. She seemed to finally hear the indescribable murmurs, those so-called divine calls. Her whole mind was instantly flooded by them, and all sense of reason immediately disappeared. She seemed to experience a spell of torture, yet it also felt like she had been reborn. That was definitely the voice of her god, because who else could wield such power? She thought as she returned to the queen's side once more. As for the queen, what was she pleading? Do not listen? Well, she was just a weakling, trembling in vain. Alright guys, let me know in the comments below, do you think Astaion is one of the strongest heroes of Season 4? Have you found any perfect uses for her? Let me know, and I will see you in the next video. Be sure to download via Android, iOS, Mac PC, Steam, or Epic Games if you haven't already. The link is in the description and the pinned comment. And thank you to Dragonheir Silent Gods for sponsoring today's video.